Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking to our distinguished guest today, Rukia Ullah. She's a fashion designer. We have not all, but at least one of her designs that we are going to show right now to you. Rukia, describe this thing that we have on display.
Okay, so we've got.
Can we show it on the screen, please? Yeah.
So we've got a Punjabi, which I've cut up and I've added on the sleeves. I've added a Banarosi silk material, which I designed. Along with that, you've got a high-waisted skirt, which is made out of silk, Banarosi silk. The print on the silk itself is a design inspired by rickshaws from our current collection. It was weaved in Mirpur, Dhaka by a group of weavers there, and it took, I think, 2 to 3 months to weave about 6 yards. The idea was to sort of help to keep going the production of weaving in Bangladesh, because it's a skill.
Banarasi silk.
Banarasi silk, yeah. You've got Jamdani as well, which is just outside Dhaka. They do that there.
Yes.
But we were looking at Banarasi itself.
It originally comes from Benares in India.
Yes, it was.
The original weavers of Benares silk came from India.
Yeah.
But
the idea was that, you know,
they settled in Mirpur.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea was to help because they normally make saris, and saris are always very practical. So how do you make this technique more practical for the new market? Right. So if you look at the mainstream, I mean, the Bengalis that live in the West, they're not always going to wear a Banarosi sari. So how are these weavers going to keep going? Right. And how will they, you know, make a living out of without that? Because it's a skill that they've been taught by their fathers, grandfathers, and they're teaching their young kids as well. So the idea was that to design prints and to design the material in a way that's not a sari, but it's a material that can be used in different forms. Right. It can be made into a shirt, a dress, a blouse, a skirt, anything.
They still do
want.
that in Dhaka, I think. See.
Yeah, they
still
yes.
do that. See.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't know, but I met you there. There was an expo on Banarasi silk some time ago. I think about 4 or 5 years ago in East London, somewhere off Brick Lane or somewhere.
I'm not sure about that one. Oitijo, yeah.
Yes.
Oitijo, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So that was a couple of years ago. That was at the Barge House, and it was an exhibition of Bengali culture. There was talks, fashion shows, and there was exhibition as well, and an exhibition of Banarosi material. The designs came from myself and a few other designers who designed the print themselves, and then it was weaved in Bangladesh.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I met one of your other colleagues, Ruhul, and he's an architect basically, and I think he's trying to do something good for those weavers by designing some cheap houses and housings for them.
Yeah, so if you look at where they're based, Mirpur, so there's a small minority of group of Urdu speakers in Dhaka, Mirpur. The idea is that to provide them with an educational system, not system, but like a library that they can also go to. And I think because there's a diversion between them and the local people, I'm not too sure.
Well, it's about time they became part of the mainstream.
Yeah, I don't know too much into it, I'm afraid. But the idea was that they can go.
I've been there with people who wanted to buy saris.
Yeah. I mean, the idea that he wanted to help them go somewhere where there's a learning resource center, where there'll be a library, where there'll be a teaching room, things like that. So he wanted to give them that access, because they're a small group, and I don't think they have access to other libraries outside the camp area.
Right. Yeah. But one of the dangers of such a thing is that if you educate their children and they want to become doctors and engineers, they lose their trade, and they lose their whole Banarasi silk weaving practices.
I mean, the idea is that you need people in different areas to keep. I mean, if there wasn't designers, what kind of clothing would you wear? If there wasn't doctors, how would you survive? Right. You need them. You do need them.
We need plumbers. We need road cleaners.
People,
we need everybody. See.
But the idea that we have in our head that you just have to be a certain profession to be accepted in your society, I don't think is right. I mean, my mother has always accepted what I've done, and I've tried to prove to her that the fact that she's allowed me to go into an area that is very risky, that, you know, this is what I come from it, this is what I can do, and this is what others can do as well.
Well, our Bangladeshi restaurant industry is also suffering from the same problems, see, because a lot of young men want to have some other profession rather than help their fathers or grandfathers' businesses. So if you have to make it more glamorous rather than just a job, or just a family business.
More appealing.
Yes. You have also worked with Emilio de la Morena.
Yes, so he's a Spanish fashion designer.
And this is, what was his AW12 collection? What
so it was an autumn-winter collection that I was involved in. 2012. Yeah, so in the mainstream you'd have two collections a year, 6 months apart. So you'd have a autumn-winter collection and a spring-summer collection. So I was involved in his, obviously, autumn-winter collection, where I helped him design prints. I was there for 3-4 months, where I worked alongside with him, looking into pattern, any designs, and researching and looking at what print will go with his collection that he was making for that season. There was a lot of research involved, going outsourcing, looking at previous collections, and it's a lot of hard work. I mean, I can see why it's quite hard to make yourself something within the mainstream fashion, is because you would really have to be unique. You need to really push yourself, be really passionate, and you really want, drive yourself.
Was it all for females or males too?
His collection was just for female. I mean, I've only been looking at female clothing because it's something that I can relate to. I mean, menswear is something that I might even, look at in a later day. I've had requests, but not at the moment. I'd like to do my research first and see what I can do for it.
Let me talk to you about something that you have been doing. Like, you were a print intern at Alexander McQueen, City of London. See, it's a big name.
Yeah,
McQueen.
I was quite. I mean, it was an internship. I was quite surprised, as to why would they want a young Bengali short girl to be an intern at the high-profile London studio to design prints. I think at that point I felt I'd accomplished something, because if a mainstream big one can accept me to intern with them, then I can do something for myself and help others, because you don't see a lot of Bengali young people being involved in certain things like that, and when you do see them, you just go, wow, like, we can do this. So I was there for a while, and I looked at fabric, I looked at how I could dye it, designing prints, sourcing. So it's hard work. It's a lot of hard work. So.
Well, I'll just slightly go into that. What you said. What would they want me from me, a short Bengali girl? See, but I was interviewing Baby Russell, a well-known name, and she said that back in Dhaka she was considered not good looking, and when she came here, she finished off her College of Fashion and Art and Design degree, and they presented something, and then she was the craze of the designers and
yeah,
the
so
fashion
I've seen
because she was tall. she
was I think it's the idea of what beauty is society feels beauty is a certain thing, whereas if you do your research and you look into different type of beauty, I would say she is one of the most beautiful women and one of the most high-profile, inspirational women in Bangladesh, and she should be accepted whether she's beautiful or not beautiful because of her work. And
she was talking about good old days, you see, but now that she has accomplished, she is a well-known name. People respect her for her ideas and
I think she's obviously taken what she's done, building her work, building herself, and she's put it in a way that it can be sort of built. Does that make sense? Yeah. For others.
You also worked with Vivienne?
I did a little bit of. It was a sort of, I think, a week or two fashion show, and it was been involved in her fashion show. So I was involved in the day of the planning, and I sort of helped in the fashion show. Yeah, it's a short one.
Did you meet her?
How did I meet her? Did I meet her? She's a quite a how, I mean, I've seen her eat in the corner. Too nervous to go and say hi, but she's quite a down-to-earth person. I mean, she doesn't really care what people think of her. And you find designers are a little bit crazy. They're a bit wacky, especially Emilio.
Most creative people are.
Yes, I think. I think Emilio, he was a very angry person. I mean, I think being in the creative industry is if you either make it or you don't. If you make it, how do you stay up there? And it's a crazy thing. And when Alexander McQueen killed himself, I believe it was the pressure that you have on you, that you'd have to be amazing, and you know your next collection has to be amazing. How do you do that? And when Emilio, you know, he'd have tantrums and he'd have angry sessions where he'd throw chairs and things like that. A bit scary, but it's because their work and their career is on the line.
Yes, they expect so much.
The expectation is really high, because when that fashion show is on and you have the buyers, you have the celebrities watching, if they don't like it, then you're not going to be, you know, put into the next show.
You're going part of the history.
Yes, it's a big risk, and the collection doesn't work, then your career is over pretty much. So it's very hard.
There's so much to gain and so much to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
How would you describe and what did you gain from your Stratford Olympic Park experience?
It was a bit of a different experience.
Yeah, I know.
just finished university and I wanted to just do something different. And I worked there for 2 weeks taking photographs for a company, and I was I got to know different type of people from different parts of the world, because I think the Olympics brought in people from all over the world, didn't it? So Americans, Brazilians, things like that. It was nice because they got to. I mean, at one point, I think someone said to me, "Are you hot in that?" And I said, "No, I'm fine," because they've never seen someone with a hijab on.
Right.
Yeah. So I've accepted that. I didn't see that as a negative thing. I was like, okay, you're learning, you're asking questions, great.
Good.
That's how it should be.
Well, it's a part of education. It's also a part of your dawah. You're spreading the word.
Exactly. And the more questions you ask, the more you find out. If you don't ask questions and you build ideas in your head, then that's a negative way of looking at things.
Right. See, people are suspicious when they don't understand, when they don't know something new, something is strange. See, when once things have been explained, they understand.
Yeah.
It's
I think also people feel like they'll be a bit naive. They'll think, oh, I might be a bit rude if I go and ask a question.
Yeah.
It's like they should know, but then if you ask a question, the person that you ask it to, if they take it the wrong way, then it's really the problem of the person that you're asking to, because I think you're doing a great thing by asking questions. You're trying to find out.
You also worked at Bold Creative.
Yeah. So I, from a very young age, I wanted to build on my career. So at 17, when I was in college, I used to intern and I started working with Bold Creative. They're a design consultancy company, and they are funded pretty much by the government, because they work they work with the Tower Hamlet community building. Right. They do a lot of research within the communities, especially the Bengali community, and they as a result, they do videos, animations that the government can use, which they can now then use to educate young people in other parts of the city or other parts of the country. So I did a project about parks once, and we had to do a lot of research. Parks in Tower Hamlet, how can we use them? And then we did activities with young people, and then we went away and they did an animation about it. They did an animation for the Channel 4, so I was part of the design team where I helped them design, scan, things like that. I did that when I was 17. I interned pretty much for full 2 years.
Have you made any animated films? No?
Not myself. It's not something that I've done. It was our starting point when I was 17 and I was at college, and I said to myself, if I was to, really go into design, I should start now. So after college, I'd travel from Walthamstow to Shoreditch pretty much every day to intern, and I'd work over summer 6 days a week for free as well, because I was quite passionate about what I wanted to do. They gave me a job at the end, which was good.
Well, you had the full support from your family, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
You also worked as a print and admin assistant at the University of Arts, London CC. How was that experience?
It was quite a up and down one. I designed prints for them, so I started working along the students' union, doing admin and things like that. But then they realised I designed prints, so they started getting me to sketch for them, design graphics for them. So that was nice. Yeah, it was a long one.
Well, we have come to the end of our second segment, and now we will take a break. And then when we come back, we'll talk about some of your more design work and some of the questions I have always had in my mind about fashion designing and how it is marketed. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll take a commercial break here, and when we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. Thank you.